the principal goes, "Assume the position," and he has like a paddle, and he's just like, "All right, assume the position."
It literally looks like
it
that.
looks exactly like this.
Like that.
And then he beats the kid.
Soda pop. Big fresh can of soda pop.
I think we are the fastest podcast to ever get a sponsorship.
I think you're right on that one, Brandon.
So we had this sponsorship lined up for episode 1. We were thinking we would be the coolest people of all time. Roll in, be like, "This is our first podcast. We're trying something new. We're sponsored already."
Mm-hmm.
But then the NFC Championship game happened, and we just decided we have to make an episode now.
Yeah.
So today our episode is sponsored by NewAir, and I've worked with them before, and I just had a great time working with them, so they got in contact with me again, and I said, "Hey, Keaton and I are starting a podcast. Can you send us an ice maker?" So here it is. They sent us an ice maker. It's a portable ice maker. NewAir makes a bunch of stuff for your dorm, apartment. Really great stuff from them.
Good stuff for like a basement, if you're like finishing a basement. A lot of good stuff for that.
And so just to show you what this ice maker is, you pretty much just pour water in, and then you press the button, and then it starts making your ice. So we're going to just keep on going with the podcast, and then I'm going to get some ice, and then I'm going to have some orange juice. All right, so let's get into the episode a little bit while that ice becomes ice.
Does its thing. Mm-hmm.
So Super Bowl is this weekend. Super, super pumped, both of us. Keaton, a lifetime Eagles fan. He's just happy.
I'm excited. I mean, I'm still a little salty about the whole ordeal. It hurts. You know, it's kind of a bittersweet thing. You know, it's I'm excited for the Super. I mean, I'm excited for the Super Bowl every year. I think a lot of people are, and to be in a city where, you know, one of the teams is from here and they're playing. That's super cool.
It's pretty much the best possible second situation for you. Like,
second.
Your second favorite team is the one, like, your team didn't make it, but your second favorite team of the city that you are living in currently made it. So it's going to be wild.
Yeah.
I don't...
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit more context than that with the whole thing. The fact that my favorite team was beaten to get to the Super Bowl, and they're going to play in my favorite team's home stadium. That makes it a little bit worse.
It's fine. Your second favorite team made it to your favorite team's stadium.
I'm excited overall. I'm just gonna enjoy it because it should be a good time nonetheless. So, yeah.
All right, so what our idea was for this show is we didn't really have any set, like, purpose for each episode.
And, yeah.
And our roommate's in here.
You guys.
Hi.
Hey, continue.
All right. So we didn't have a set, like, goal for each episode, and we think that we have maybe found a solution to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what we're thinking about doing is we are going to watch or have a movie that we're going to do for each podcast where we basically kind of we'll watch it, and kind of the idea is you guys would watch it and then watch our podcast, and we'll have we'll say our opinions about the movie and say
we'll get a little heated discussion
about the movie. And then you can listen. I think it would be kind of it'll be like a book club, but movies.
But Netflix movies.
Yeah, and obviously this is the first time, so we didn't have time to tell you to watch the movies. So I guess what you could do is pause the podcast, go take 2 hours out of your day and watch the movie, and then come back. But the plan will be at the end of the movie, we'll tell you the movie that we're watching for the next one, and you guys, watch it in the next week or so, and then we'll talk about it. So.
All right, so this week we watched Dead Poets Society.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, Keaton picked that last night. Wasn't expecting much. Great, it's a great movie.
Mm-hmm. Our roommate, yeah.
First of all, let's look at this cast. Robin Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Red Foreman from That 70s Show. I don't know the actor's name, but Red Foreman. Pretty much the best guy in the world. And then there's the main character, his name is Neil, and he pretty much is a more serious Jim Carrey. He like looks identical to Jim Carrey, and I had to look up to make sure that it wasn't Jim Carrey that was acting as a kid in this movie.
No. Well, the thing I think is interesting is it almost doesn't seem like there's one main character almost. Neil, I guess, could be, but also Todd Anderson, who's another character, who's the shy character in the movie. They have a lot of storyline going on with him. Basically, what's going on here is it's a boarding school in Vermont in the late 50s, and it's a very prestigious boarding school, and they...
It's like a place that you go when you're going to an Ivy League school.
Yeah,
like,
it's one of those places.
Yeah.
They get together and they have a new English teacher, Robin Williams, which I would kind of compare Robin Williams' role in this movie kind of similar to Good Will Hunting, if you've ever seen that movie. He's kind of just like this cool, kind of very smart, but kind of
he's like
alternative
he's
type
like
of
an
character.
Understanding and relatable teacher for these kids, and like they're in this prestigious school where they don't necessarily do much besides go to class, and they're like, all right, we have to sit down in class and then read our books and take notes and do everything the professor says. And Professor Keating, Robin Williams, the GOAT, pretty much just challenges that and tries to force them to be free thinkers.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool how it all works out. Neil, he discovers his love of acting, and his father, doesn't like that at all. He's very against that. His dad wants him to be a doctor and focus on school, not get involved with that nonsense. That kind of goes along with John Keating's saying with Carpe Diem. He says that a lot throughout the movie. The kind of do what you want. I think the term seize the day. I think the term from is suck the marrow out of life, which is kind of or out of the bone of life. And
honestly,
wink,
I thought
wink.
this movie definitely exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
For a movie about poetry, it was actually good. But the setting of this film is actually in this like really nice looking school, and the school is pretty much like a worse Hogwarts, like Hogwarts with no girls and no magic. And
yeah,
so it's pretty cool. Like it looks nice, but it's also a little bit crazy with how intense the teachers are. At one point, this one character like defies the rest of the like faculty and is like, "We should have girls here." Then he's like about to get punished by the principal or whoever, and he's like, the principal goes, "Assume the position," and he has like a paddle, and he's just like, "All right, assume the position."
It literally looks like
it
that.
looks exactly like this, and then he beats the kid, and that was a little step up.
He was smacking him good too. I mean, he was giving him a good whooping.
The ice.
Is it
the first round of ice is done?
Yeah.
Okay. You can. Oh shoot.
Oh wait.
Hear it. Oh, it's knocking the ice off the little ice maker thing.
So then it kind of makes it, and it goes down like this little hill thing. So
I feel like a commentator for like ice melting, which is kind of cool. Cooler than I expected.
If you're watching this, it's like a little cone. Yeah.
It's like a little piece of candy corn. Kinda.
Yeah. Except it doesn't suck. So.
And then you take the little scoop thing, and boom.
Boom.
You have ice.
And really, like, you have enough ice for, like, at least one drink.
At least one, probably more.
Probably two. Depends on how much you like ice.
Let's turn that off.
Yeah, we'll turn it off. You kind of got the idea, though. It's quick, and it's good. I don't know. I mean,
orange juice, and you got
when you don't have ice, ever. You know, when you just never have ice, it's really good to have ice. You know, ice is good. So
Yeah, I mean, whoa, that was shaking when it turned off. But yeah, this was a great product that NewAir hooked us up with. If you're interested in anything that they might have, you can check out their website. I'll link it in the description. We'll have a discount code. Thank you to NewAir for sponsoring us. We and the rest of our roommates definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I hope you guys can get some nice deals.
yeah, it's a good college house type deal. All right.
Back to the action.
Yes.
I thought that there were some things in this film that just like creeped me out. First of all, there's this character named Knox. I forget his last name.
He's the nerd one.
No. He's the one that. So pretty much Knox is invited to dinner at this one family friend's house, and he sees this girl there, and he's like, "Damn, she's so hot," and he instantly is in love with her, and which I think by just seeing someone for like a period of 5 minutes they were on screen together, not even. He was like, "I love you," and it was like, "Whoa,
yeah,
slow your roll."
Yeah, and then and he goes to like, so like they're at this boarding school, but then there's like this high school that like all the you know other kids go to in town, I guess, and she goes there, and he like, you know, he goes there and like reads her a poem and like.
But she has a boyfriend, and he's like the big jock in school.
He's a jock, and it's just like. It's kind of well, like it works out, but like,
well, no, it's like a ballsy move, and then
I respect the ballsy move.
The boyfriend is like, who are you? And well, first of all, the girl invites Knox to a house party, so he shows up at this house party with all these like high school kids, and he's like this esteemed boarding school guy, and they're drinking a little. Yeah. And then he ends up, like, towards the end of the night, he's sitting on the couch, and he notices she's asleep next to him. And then he's creepily, like, strokes her hair and then kisses her head.
And then,
like, and I was just like, what is... No, this is not right.
And then the boyfriend's like, bruh, like... What,
like, I'll kill you. And I'm like, amen.
That's kind of fair. Him. Like, what? You know, like, I kind of see what they're getting at with that, with the whole... you know, shoot your shot type thing, but like the way he did it, like that would never work.
And that's just not a good way to do. Like, and
it doesn't normally work.
Respect
like I'm gonna go
the boundaries of a relationship.
Yeah, and like you kind of have to let that end on its own. I mean, obviously the actual, you know, the boyfriend dude was like a dick, you know, which, you know. Obviously, there's a time and place to intervene with things like that, but like I think he was just like a jock, you know. And then he's like, "Oh, but I like her," and then just, you know, it doesn't really that I would say is one of the, I'd say, weaker plot points of the movie. I mean, it still kind of gets the theme across of the whole movie, I feel.
Yeah, I mean,
but
Knox he shoots his shot, she rejects him. He keeps shooting his shot. He gets beat up by her boyfriend, and then he shows up at their school, and pretty much this girl's downfall in like letting him keep pursuing her is that she like cares about what happens to him. So like she's like she shows up at his school and is like giving him a warning, like, do not ever talk to me again. And she's like, my boyfriend will kill you. And then he's like, "Oh, so you care?"
And then she's like, "I do."
And then she's just like, "Yes, we're a couple."
And then now it's like, and he's like, "Want to go on a date?" And she's like, "Yes, I do." And then it's like,
no.
Yeah, it doesn't exactly make a lot of sense. But I mean, I think that's the worst of the plot lines.
I'd say he was my least favorite character.
Yeah.
Do you know who my favorite character was, aside from the GOAT, Robin Williams? The tissue guy.
Oh, the tissue who's constantly blowing his nose.
Yeah, there's this one character. I feel like there's this like cliche character in a lot of old films of this like nerdy looking kid that's blown his nose into tissue, and he's my favorite character in this film. He just shows up at the right moments.
Yeah, he's just kind of there. I like the shy dude, Todd Anderson, because he at first he's very much in his shell.
Todd
Anderson.
Todd reminded me so much of our roommate from last year.
Yes.
We had a roommate last year who was just very shy, and he was quiet in similar ways to Todd.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like to see Todd come out of his shell like that at the end of the film. It was like, wow, our roommate. That's probably what he would have been like if he ever had gotten to know us and opened up a little bit.
Yeah. It was it's kind of cool.
Our roommate, our roommate, his name was John. He was dope, and
yeah,
I wish that we could have gotten to know him a little bit better. But.
Yeah, he's a cool dude though, and yeah, I saw some similarities there.
Also, by the way, these are spoilers. We're assuming that you watched this already.
We're kind of just going through the synopsis and
at the end of the film. One of the main characters, his name is Neil. He's the more serious Jim Carrey. He pretty much is a part of a play without his dad's permission, and his dad is like, "You're not allowed to do anything without me saying you can. You are going to go to," and then he's like, "You're going to go to military school and then medical school, and you're going to be a doctor. When you're a doctor, you can do what you want." And pretty much, because of his parents, mainly his dad, Neil ended up killing himself and shooting himself with his dad's gun.
Yeah.
And I could tell in the little sequence before, like, shit, something bad is about to happen. And I saw him pull out that gun from the drawer, and I was like, no.
I thought he was just going to run away at first, because he, opens a window, and I thought he was just going to, run away, and I was like, good, yeah, run away, pursue your dreams. But then he gets the gun. I'm like, oh crap. And then I was like, come on, someone wake up and
be alive still.
Yeah,
have messed
someone
up.
wake up and see him. But yeah, and then they kind of blame the school. And...
so the parents, oh my fucking god, this pissed me off so much. The parents at the end, after they caused their son to kill himself, they're like, all right, school, what's the deal? We are blaming you for our son being like this because you're encouraging his free thinking.
Yeah.
And then they're like, we want to know who did this to him. You did it to him. You were the worst.
Yeah, I know.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was bad. I find it interesting, the whole the whole dynamic between the kind of mentality of the school versus John Keating's mentality, kind of, and I find it interesting how John Keating, he went to school at this boarding school. He I almost think that what's his name, Neil's kind of Neil's dad is kind of another thematic representation of the school almost.
And also the backstory is Neil's dad, he was poor when he was younger, and he was like, you can't waste this chance. You can't waste this opportunity.
Yeah.
But, I mean, personally, if it were my kid, I know, obviously I would not be so much of a dick to my child that they would want to kill themselves. I would, I don't know, your kid's 17. He's pretty much an adult. You can start letting them make their own decisions.
Yeah, and I mean, and he was really good, he was really good at acting. If I would kind of get it if he was oh, I'm in the play, and then he was behind the school, he was
a bush. He was playing a bush, and he was just
something, then I would kind of get it, yeah, stop messing around. But he wasn't messing around. He was the lead role and the best, and I don't know. It that kind of stunk, that whole sequence.
And they were all such great friends. That friend group was so tight knit. The Dead Poets Society.
Yeah.
So what the title pretty much is Robin Williams, when he went to this school, he was a part of this thing called the Dead Poets Society, and pretty much all the kids would meet up and sneak out of the school after hours, and I just burped. And they would go into this cave, they'd have a bonfire, and they would read each other poetry and probably smoke cigs too.
They smoked cigs and pipes and stuff. It was cool.
But it was like a poetry club, but like a little illicit poetry club. So the kids at the school find out about it through the yearbook. They ask him what it is, and he tells them, and then they just form it on their own. So, I mean, it's such an interesting friend group because they just do stuff. Like, I don't know. I've never been a part of a friend group that is just like, let's do a study group.
Yeah. Another thing is they're all nerds, so they study and stuff.
Yeah. All right. So final thoughts. Everyone in this movie was a nerd except for Robin Williams. He was
cool. Everyone else was nerds. But yeah, especially the headmaster.
Well, the headmasters were like. This is one of the biggest reasons why this was like a poor man's Hogwarts. I'll list them here. Okay, so no girls, no magic, a big one right there, no magic, and the third one is the headmaster was a dick. Like, they were like, you must listen, you must be disciplined, follow our rules, do everything that we say. And Dumbledore wasn't like that. Dumbledore's a bro.
Yeah.
Be more like Dumbledore.
I'm not as big of a Harry Potter fan as Mr. Brandon here, but
The name's Soda.
Okay. They weren't nice. It is kind of a I don't know. I thought the dynamic was interesting between what they were supposed to be being taught and what John Keating was doing. I think it was almost like a coming of age thing to me. It almost seemed like a coming of age type movie, even though it's not necessarily aimed at that for the purpose. Just because
it's like an intellectual coming of age.
Yeah. I feel like, especially if you're in a environment like they were in this movie, being in a boarding school, where the expectations are very high, you kind of don't think about doing what you want to do. You kind of think, I'm trying to do what my parents want. And
well,
things
yeah,
like
it's
that.
like it reminds me of like North Korea or like a communist country. Like free thinking is not encouraged. They need to do what they're told, and they do it no matter what they feel about it. They don't question it. It's yes, sir.
Yeah, pretty much.
And if you don't do that, you're gonna get in trouble,
kicked out or something.
You won't get killed.
No,
like true, not as bad as North Korea in that sense, but it is still pretty bad.
Yeah, it was really like a coming of age type thing. I think it's a good movie for. I think a lot of kids of a similar age should definitely check this movie out. Just because, when you're that age, you're kind of approaching a crossroads of doing what you've been doing, basically, school and whatever, and what do you want to do, and this, it's kind of corny with the whole carpe diem seize the day crap, but I think there's a good lesson to be learned in this. And also Robin Williams is super cool, so like I listened to Robin Williams, he was a good dude, so like this is a good movie to watch. To I don't know, just makes you think, am I doing what I want to do with my life?
Keaton, every single time that I see Robin Williams on screen, I just get immediately sad.
Yeah,
because
it was so cool. His best work, RV. No, I'm just kidding. That was such a weird movie. I mean, I liked it.
All right, next week we're watching RV. Oh my gosh.
No.
We should just do only Robin Williams movies.
We're a Robin Williams podcast.
We're changing the name from Soda Pop to Robin Williams.
Just Robin Williams, the podcast. Honestly, that would make for a good podcast, probably. He has a lot of good movies.
All right, so in conclusion, RV should have been nominated for an Oscar. Should have won an Oscar.
Yeah.
Red Foreman in Dead Poet Society. Robin Williams, pretty good, not as good as he was in RV. Red Foreman, not as funny as in 70s Show, but still a dick. And Robert Sean Leonard, a.k.a. Jim Carrey in disguise, is the golden boy.
Mm-hmm. Also, Ethan Hawke he's the guy who plays the shy dude. He's actually a fairly big actor as well. I don't know if you've ever seen Gattaca. It's a movie about like genetics and crap like that from the early 2000s. It's kind of a corny movie, but he's in that. Ethan Hawke. I don't know. You might recognize that name, but yeah,
All right.
lots. I mean, I think there's a solid cast here going on.
So next week we will be watching Scooby-Doo. I believe it is on Netflix. It's the live-action version of Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
Are you looking that up right now?
I am. I'm looking up just the movie.
It is on Netflix. So watch the live-action Scooby-Doo and be here to talk about it with us or listen to us talk about it.
Yeah. It's a classic. It's something we all. I don't know. It's a good. I like it. It's a good. I think you guys. I've seen it already, but I haven't seen it in a while because I'm 20 years old, and 20-year-olds normally don't just watch live action Scooby-Doo, but we are going to, and we expect you to as well, and we're gonna talk about it. So
if you don't watch it, we're gonna be upset.
Yeah, we'll block you from watching our podcast. Just kidding, but watch it, please.